I'm Dan Dawkins for Games Radar Plus, and I'm here with 16 things we learnt from the new Star Wars Force Awakens trailer that's just been released for the Asian market. Don't worry, no major spoilers ahead, but we will be fringing upon some of the themes that many have speculated that some may want to avoid. This is your last warning, here we go. First up, brand new footage, we see Rey in what looks like the open and enormous exhaust port of the Star Destroyer we've seen broken and destroyed on Jakku. And we hear a repetition of the dialogue, "Who are you? I'm no one." Another piece of new footage, this one evocative of the Tatooine shot of Luke Skywalker from A New Hope. Here we're seeing the home planet of Jakku. More all-new or rather expanded footage, this time of Rey with BB-8. Interesting point here is this is the first time we hear BB-8 talk. And by talk, I mean like a robot doing an impression of Donald Duck. Now, the interesting bit is not what we see, but what we hear. And we hear an expanded version of Rey talking about, "Where do you come from?" She says, "I know all about waiting for my family." Now, if this plot speculation point wasn't already pretty clear, this seems like the firmest hint yet that she is from an important lineage within the Star Wars universe. Now, the speculation would be that she is Han and Leia's daughter. As an outside bet, you could say perhaps she is like the offspring of Luke and a mystery person, but really all the bets look like it's Han and Leia. Beautiful shot here, TIE fighters in the sunset, again evocative of the old series. Also strange to see TIE fighters in like a brightly lit environment, almost suggesting, are these TIE fighters being flown by the First Order, or perhaps have they been appropriated by the New Rebellion? We've seen these shots before, but this is an expanded look. We see the First Order troopers, the flame troopers as we know them, gushing the flame onto a village in Jakku. Now this looks really significantly like a trigger point that causes Finn to defect to what we believe is the Rebellion. A visual departure in this scene, and more of a J.J. Abrams trademark. We see the tri-saber up close. This is something of a hero shot, perhaps to sell more toys, but we do get a really good look at the crackling, homemade feel of the new lightsaber. Looking at the control panels in the background is this Kylo Ren spaceship. Here we see expanded footage from new angles of Millennium Falcon fleeing from TIE fighters on Jakku. Finn and Rey together before, we know they're likely to end up as allies. Here we see them talking with a set of expanded dialogue.
I don't know your name.
Finn.
I'm Rey.
Now that seems really banal, but it's nice to have this first open interchange between them. And is this their first sort of chance to get to know each other on the Falcon, which would suggest that all the scenes we've seen of them fleeing, this is the first moment they've got to actually, identify with each other. Up to that point, maybe they were just running and united by fate. Now we hear some familiar dialogue from Han Solo. There are stories about what happened, but we do get to see this in the context of new footage of Leia on what looks like the Rebel base, stood next to Poe Dameron in the red jacket. We also see C-3PO clear and front on for probably the first time, and we get reconfirmation that something's happened to his arm, and he has like a new red extension on his arm. It's also worth noting in that scene that there's a officer behind Leia who's wearing Rebel fatigues with the Rebel insignia, but it doesn't look unlike the old Imperial uniform sported by Grand Moff Tarkin. We cut back to a scene from the previous trailer, which looks like Han Solo and crew heading to a temple where we believe Lupita Nyong'o's character lives. The key giveaway here is what we believe is the Mandalorian flag, which is one of the signifiers of Boba Fett and his bounty hunter allegiances. More great new footage, another example of J.J. Abrams' really amazing camera work, and this has come from on a side, almost third-person viewpoint. We see the X-Wings swooping down onto what we believe to be the snow-covered Starkiller base. Brilliant close-on glimpse of Chewie in this all-new footage. It doesn't look quite as grey as perhaps we'd have thought in the 30 or 40 years since the last film. The really interesting bit is we cut to his hand. We can see that Chewie is holding a thermal detonator. It's also our first glimpse, I think, ever of Chewie's fingers. Whether that's what you're expecting or not, I don't know. Hey, he's got fingers. This might be a trick of the cut, but the implication there is that Chewie is activating the bomb on what looks like the command bridge of the First Order vessel. This might be a trick of the editing. It's also quite possible, we think, from the background, that Chewie is in the prison facility where we believe Poe Dameron is being held by Kylo Ren. A possible comedy Easter egg for you Windows PC fans out there. When the First Order Star Destroyer explodes, their computers get the blue screen of death by the look of things. This is a really big moment in the new footage. We see Kylo Ren, up close and personal with Rey, and he's holding his new tri-saber right to her neck. She looks absolutely terrified. Either she's been running away from him or he's finally confronted her. We've seen Kylo Ren in what looks like this forest before, but that was a scene at night in the snow. Is this a different forest, a different time of day? Either way, this looks like a really key moment from the movie. A big talking point from the last trailer was Rey sobbing over what we believe to be a body. We don't know whether that person is dead or unconscious. Now, the identity of that person is a bit ambiguous. Speculation reigns from it being Chewbacca. It looks almost like brown fur. Now, it might be more likely, perhaps, that it's the brown jacket that we've seen on both Poe Dameron and on Finn. Now, you see in different trailers, they've both taken it in turns to wear that jacket. I wonder if that's a deliberate part of misdirection on JJ's part, so we can't guess the identity of the fallen party from this visual. The final bit of dialogue is new, and it feels really important.
Hope is not lost today. It is found.
And could it be that that dialogue is from Lupita Nyong'o's character, Maz Kanata, who we believe we see handing what we think is Luke's lightsaber to Leia in an earlier scene? It feels like a nice reference to A New Hope. But it does also imply that perhaps what we believe to be true about The Force Awakens in terms of the true hero, it might be that there's a sense of misdirection and the person we believe to be the hero might actually be the trigger point for someone else to take the baton. So that's 16 things we found in the new trailer. Do let us know if you found more in the comments below. As ever, keep tuned to Games Radar for more great news on Star Wars as the film gets ever closer to release. Personally, I cannot wait. I'm sort of kicking myself for watching that new trailer. It's definitely opened up some new themes. But yeah, all eyes on December the 17th and 18th. See you soon.